This is going to be a quick video about changing the definition you give to something. So you go up to somebody and you're going to ask them out. Now immediately, unless you're very well practiced doing this, or you just really don't care, which is not most people, what's going to happen in the next couple seconds is you're going to see all these images in your head of rejection. What's it like? How much it's going to suck to get rejected. How they're maybe even laughing at you. You're going to feel this like pit in your stomach tighten. And in just a few seconds, you're going to be absolutely terrified of an event that has not happened. That's exactly what the ego does to protect you from the emotional damage that it perceives will happen. So, what would happen if it was your job to go up to, say, pretty young girls all around town and ask them questions for a survey? You'd be much more likely to approach them without any fear, because after all, it's your job and you're not putting yourself on the line. You're just doing it because it's what you're supposed to do. If they reject the survey, they're not rejecting you personally. They're just rejecting, this survey that you have to do. You don't really feel one way or another about it, and you move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. You don't really care. And there is no knot in your stomach. There is no apprehension about approaching them because you personally are not invested in it. So what I'm proposing here is change your story. Change the definition you give to something. For example, if you know that it's petrifying to you to approach someone and ask them out, how about change it into something else? Approach someone and ask them out purely for the reason of hardening yourself, of repetition to develop skill. Approach people that you have absolutely no interest in, may not even be the remotest attracted to. You would actually even be a little disappointed if they did say yes. And then approach them, ask them out, and if they say yes, great, set something up so you can practice some other skills. And then if they say no, great. They just gave you exactly what you intended for in the first place. The rejection to toughen your skin so that when you want to do something else, maybe like sales, for instance, it's going to be a lot easier for you to approach people and try to sell them something, because repetition is the mother of all skill. And if you harden yourself by asking out people, which is very terrifying to almost everybody, then it's going to become less and less apprehensive. It's going to become more and more natural, because that's just how skill is done. Repetition. Eventually, you don't even think about it. You just do it without any real apprehension at all. Oh, ask this person out. Maybe, you're even attracted to them this time. Oh, they said no? Whatever. I asked the other 100 people out, and, it really doesn't bother you after a while. This works for just about everything you can imagine, including sales. Anything you're afraid of that you actually repetitively do, you stop being afraid of. That's just the psychology behind it. So this example was about relationships and sales, for instance, but it can be applied to anything. Change the way you want to define something and focus in on the reason you're doing something. And if that reason gives you fear, then change the reason. Bring the power back to yourself in all things, and do things purely from a motivation of bettering yourself, or even serving another person. Take the power away from them and bring it back to yourself. And you'll see that you can do things that you thought were impossible before. Things that would terrify you before now become much easier to do. And with some repetition, it's going to become nothing.